Hey, my loves, welcome back to the channel. So today we are discussing 9 reasons why your home feels cheap, even though you may have spent thousands on your homes. This is going to be a video you want to watch till the end because these mistakes are the exact thing you want to avoid. And I'm also going to teach you what to do instead to make your home feel elevated and well designed. Your home may feel cheap because you may have spent thousands on things like furniture and just the basics of what needs to be in your home, but you have ignored other really important things that read as elevated. Things like what, Nafisa? Like the trim pieces around your home. Yes, you have expensive furniture, it costs you thousands of pounds, but why doesn't your house look like the neighbor's house, oozing luxury? Well, because you may have ignored your trims. You see, changing your trims and getting a higher trim or a trim that has a little bit like more detail on it can make one of the biggest difference to your home that people walk in and they're like, oh my God, this place feels expensive. This place feels high end. They too may not even be able to pinpoint it to say, oh, it's the trim, which is one of the reasons why majority of us forget this. So we buy all the expensive stuff and we actually don't invest in commissioning finishing touches. And one way that we can do that is by upgrading the trim around our home. I'm telling you, this will take your home from 0 to 100 real quick. And if you are at a stage where you can do this, please, please, please do it. It will instantly read more high-end. These are the things that high-end interior designers make sure that they do. But like I said, the amateur home decor enthusiast doesn't always think to do. And not doing this can make your home feel more cheap, even though your home is actually not any more cheaper. And not just the trim, but think about it. Even the trim pieces that go around the ceiling of the room, high-end interior design tend to have more trim molding up on that ceiling, which just expand the grandeur of the room. So this is really something most of us can actually afford to do. You may think, oh my God, that sounds really expensive. Trust me, if you have done, wall panel molding before by yourself, you can replace the trims in your homes by yourself, watch YouTube videos, or maybe get a handyman who can come and help you get this done, but it will make the biggest difference. Another way that we can actually commission for high-end home finishes is thinking about the edge profile of some of the items and pieces in our homes. I used to love watching interior design tours of people's beautiful homes. And one of the homes that really stood out to me, I remember they had an island that had a curved shape on the edge. And that alone made such a great difference in just making the room appear more elevated. Why? Because every other home has the typical 90-degree edge island, 90-degree edge profile, and now the circular edge profile just elevated the space that bit more. And as you can see in the picture that I'm showing you, it does make a difference. The difference is in the detail. High-end homes, they pay attention to the detail and it shows, and it definitely reads more high-end. So if you don't want your home to look cheap, and you don't want your home to look like basic, even though you spent a lot of money on it, you've also got to think about these things. Another thing to keep in mind as well is hardware. You can't just buy expensive furniture and forget that the hardware in your room is also communicating to people who are walking in. So things from your door handles to your taps, you want to really think about the hardware in your room and think about elevating them to more higher end finishes, such as antique brass, such as antique bronze, such as brushed nickel finishes. Those are really it, okay? Instead of the typical builder grade version that you have, you can easily swap these things and change these things out. And I'm telling you, they will make a difference to how your room reads. So again, it's not just about the furniture, the coffee table, the sofa, the TV, and making sure you got a Samsung frame TV. It's not just about that. Those are not the only things that will elevate your room. Once you've done getting those foundational pieces, you now have to start thinking about those things that I have mentioned. So edge design, your trim, and your hardware are 3 ways that you can really elevate your home beyond the foundational pieces. The second thing making your home look cheap, even though you've spent so much money on it, is that there isn't a consistent material story being told throughout your home. Again, we're going back to intentionality. So if you are getting certain materials for the first room that you decorate in your house, you've got to try to repeat those materials in other areas of the house, maybe in different colors, different shades, in different items, right? You may have had a linen sofa in your living room, but that doesn't mean you need to also have a linen sofa in your family room. You may decide you want a velvet sofa in your family room, but you have something else in your living room that also has velvet, but you may have it in different colors. So repeating fabrics like that helps you to create a story throughout your home that reads, again, more intentional. Sometimes what we do is we decorate one room and we're like, we want each room to have its own personality and its own character. And so all of the rooms in the house are just very different and they feel disconnected. That's not what you want. You don't want every room, on the other hand, to be the same. You don't want every room people to open the door to be very predictable. You still want to have that, oh wow, that's so interesting. Every room needs to have its interest, but you should be repeating materials so that your home is telling a cohesive story. Skipping professional lighting design. Professional lighting design can change the game for you. And even if you're not hiring an interior designer, you may still be able to do some of these things on your own by just applying simple interior design rules and thinking about applying lighting in different heights of your room so that altogether your room looks more high-end. Lighting is something we often ignore. We just don't think it's that important. Like, we've got a light in the ceiling, that's good enough. Nobody's got time for that. But trust me, if you want your home to read more high-end and for your home not to look cheap, you have to invest in lighting. I'm yet to see a high-end home designed by an interior designer where they have ignored lighting. They typically do not ignore lighting. So if you want your home to read as high end, you have to take lighting into consideration, and not only just the type of lighting that you have, but the colorway of the lighting that you're choosing. Human beings, we tend to thrive on a more warmer toned light. So something like 2700 kelvins is great temperature of lighting to have in the home because it just works naturally with the body's natural circadian rhythm, right? So at nighttime, you have your lights lit up in different areas and the home looks beautiful, because it's not just about during the day for the home to look beautiful. It's also about how does the home look and feel at nighttime, right? And so this is something you also have to invest in if you want your home to look high end. You may have spent, again, a lot of money on the basics, but if you are ignoring your lighting, your home will stay looking basic. And again, that is not what we want. So girl, get onto upgrading your lighting. I have other advice about how to upgrade your lighting in various videos of mine. So just go on ahead if you're new here, check out my other videos. You will learn more about lighting as you go on here. I will make more videos in the future as well. But lighting, super important to making your home look elevated. The next one, some of us who love modern interior design may be guilty of this, and that is not having anything with a patina or a history in the room. You know, it's really, really interesting how some homes that you may come to love, you realize have a level of something bought from the charity shop, something old in the room. It may have been elevated slightly. So instead of having like that orange pine tone, you may buy a furniture that is typically an orange furniture, you know, the wood color, and you may have it kind of whitewashed so that it matches some of the tones in your room. But something old in the house actually makes the house feel more lived in. It gives the house history. It also gives you an opportunity for a conversation, for a story, for people to ask questions. Oh, where is this from? This looks interesting. It demonstrates personality. It brings personality and breathes life into the room. If everything is brand new, shiny, right, and just modern glass, it can read not as high end, I would say, in my opinion. It can read cheap, right? Because some of these materials from the past are really made with, I dare I say, better quality than some of the things that we have now. So you can go to the charity shop and get something that is much more cheaper, but with a higher quality than what you can get now. So I will always encourage everyone at some point in your interior design journey, get something old into your house. It doesn't have to look crazy. Okay, you can update it to make it look a bit more modern, but do invite something old into your room. Every high-end interior designer does it, and it makes the home look beautiful. The next mistake that makes your home appear cheap, even though you've spent a lot of money on it, is prioritizing statement pieces without prioritizing the proportion of the piece in relation to the room. So you may go out and spend a lot of money, just splurge on a beautiful piece, let's say a statement art that you really like. But this statement art is not the right proportion for the room, and you forgot to prioritize that. The statement piece may be too large for the room or too small for the room. So you really got to think about the proportions of the things that you're bringing into your room. It goes back to why I'm always carrying a tape measure with me everywhere, because anytime you are designing anything, measure, 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 measure. You can never go wrong by measuring, because you want to ask yourself, okay, what size is this? Is this going to fit right into the room that I'm going to place it in? So you want to take some measurements before you go out shopping for these things, or if you're shopping for them online, you want to take the measurement. You want to maybe use painter's tape to tape, the wall where this statement art piece is going to go, this mirror is going to go, whatever it is that you're investing in. You want to kind of get a visual guide for what it's going to look like by placing the tape measures around the space where that piece is going to go. So that way you can kind of look at it and say, yeah, it's great, but it might be a bit too small. No, it's actually a bit too big. Maybe I need two of these. Maybe, I need to figure out somewhere else to put it, or should I get a bigger size or get them to do for me a smaller size? Don't just go pick up whatever you see that you like, spend a whole bunch of money on it, especially as it relates to statement pieces, and you haven't actually thought about where this thing is going and the proportions of it, because that will give it away that, yeah, an amateur person designed this place, because look at the scale. They got the scale so wrong, and we do not want to do that. Some of these things I've done myself, and it's just human beings. It is what it is, right? We all make mistakes, but you're here to learn so that you don't repeat these mistakes. So this is definitely one you don't want to do, because it can become a costly mistake for you to make. And that brings me nicely onto the next thing that makes your interior design look cheap, even though you've spent a lot of money on it. And that is having too much polished and under textured materials. This one is very, very, very important. For those of us who love modern design, we have to be very, very careful not to only be picking items that are overly polished, under textured items. So you want to introduce textured items into your home. It's very easy just to be like, oh, I love glass accent pieces, so everything you're getting is glass. Or I love brass accent pieces, everything you're getting is shiny brass, right? All of your pieces are smooth textured. You're not thinking about introducing different textures in. You must introduce more honed finished, right? More textures into your interior design, and don't only go for the polished finishes. I want you to keep in mind, expensive doesn't always mean glossy. Dare I say it, when I walk into rooms that do have this tactile variation, it's a lot more calming to my nervous system. The room just feels really, it's like that understated elegance, right? You can tell by the quality of the things in the room that yes, they have invested in this space, but is not all shiny in your face, everything like shiny syndrome. We've got to stop the shiny show with our interior design. The next one is styling your home in a way that makes your home look like you bought everything rather than you have a collection. Again, this is something that a lot of elegant women like to do, right? And since this is a channel where we also embrace the elegant size of ourselves, I've got to mention this. Having a collection does make your home feel more intentional, and it makes your home, more importantly, feel more like you. We don't just want to enter a show home that is, oh my God, so beautiful, but it says nothing about you. Okay, you want to have pieces in your home that again tell a story about you. And one way that you can do that is have a collection. Not just this, I got this thing from this random place, this thing from this random place. What is the collection that's going on in your home? For me, I collect Le Creuset pieces. And yes, they are pricey. Yes, I can get cheaper alternatives, but I rather not. I like Le Creuset pots, pans, pieces of items, and I actually collect them. I don't buy them very often, but as time is going by, I am creating a collection of Le Creuset pans and pots and things like that. And so that's something that I love. I also want to really start getting into collecting like tea sets, right? I'm also really into thinking about collecting African art, right? That is not like images of people, but other variations of African art. That represents who I am. I also love calligraphy, and I'm thinking about having some kind of art piece on the wall that involves people, that involves calligraphy. So that tells a story about me, who I am, where I come from, my background, and all of that. That is very, very beautiful. That elevates your home because it injects personality into your home. Your home is not just this place where it's a combination of all of the different stores, all of the different homeware stores around where you live. No, your home needs to tell a story about you, and that is where collections really come into play. So once you have, again, your foundations in place and you've worked on some of the things that I mentioned already, you really want to start thinking about, what do I actually like to collect? And you can display some of these things in your home. Again, they help to tell a story about who you are. That stops your home feeling cheap, because most high-end homes will have things that tell the story about the individual that lives or owns the home. The number 8 thing that makes your home feel cheap, even though you have spent thousands on it, is you decorate the home. It looks beautiful, but you have completely ignored scent. Let me tell you, you cannot afford to ignore this one, because no matter how beautiful your home looks, scent can take it to the next level. Even if your home doesn't have a bad smell and it's a beautiful looking home, scent takes it to the next level, okay? Scent is linked to memory. So if you want people to have a memory of your home, try to have a signature scent in your home. And with that signature scent, most people will always remember your home. Aside to that, scent is another sense that we need to tap into when it comes to interior design, because it's not just about the way things look, it's also about the way things feel. Let's be honest, you can step into a home and it all looks very beautiful, and the moment you sit down or the moment you touch something, it's like, okay, yeah, they tried to do interior design, but everything here is cheap, and we can tell, right? Because everything feels flimsy, things don't just feel legit. You're not even sure if you're sitting on a sturdy chair. You can tell money has actually not been invested here. And not to say that we all have to pour a whole bunch of money into our homes. There are ways we can get better quality things for cheaper. And so you also want to explore that. But scent is something you definitely have to invest in if you want your home to read high end, because you're not just feeding people's visuals, but you're also feeding their sense of smell. Okay. And sense of smell can elevate your home depending on the type of scent that you are using. So I will highly, highly, highly say and recommend to you that if you don't have anything that's elevating the scent of your home on a regular basis, you must invest in one. And no, air fresheners don't count. Okay, sis, air fresheners don't count. Air fresheners are meant to remove bad odor from the air, but we need something to introduce a beautiful odor into the air to help to elevate the look, feel, smell of your home. Last but most certainly not least tip that I want to give for this video in terms of things that make your home look cheaper and how to improve it, not editing your home after installation, okay? You may have had all these things in your home. Sometimes just take a look back and just be like, you know what, I want to take this thing away. Kind of like my entryway video that I showed you guys. I've since updated it a little bit because it's summertime and I was looking at the little lamp there and I thought, you know what? I'm going to edit this. So I added another coffee table that has like a brown edge around it, which picks up from some of the browns in the pictures on the wall. And then I've just left the candle and the reed diffuser there. And I'm in fact thinking about putting a bigger reed diffuser there, as long as my son won't knock it down. But I'm thinking about just putting one large reed diffuser there. And I've since removed the little cute little lamp. I've just stored it in the storage beneath the entryway table. So you are free to edit your home as you see fit. Just because something was done in one way doesn't mean you have to leave it like that forever. And sometimes editing means removing things, and sometimes editing means moving things around, swapping things out a little bit. Shop your home, don't just look at things in one way. After a while, you may decide you want to take things down a bit. You want to refine a little bit. And I think refining your home is how you improve in your interior decoration journey, right? So that you don't remain where you've always been. We all evolve in our interior design. The way we started in the beginning is typically not where we end up 5-6 years later into doing this. Once we get used to it, our taste can change. Our the eye that we have for quality can improve. Things get better, and we're like, actually, why did I even do that? There were particular choices I made maybe about 10 years ago in my interior design that I was just like, no, that was not reading elevated at all. But at the time, I thought it was it. Now imagine I insisted staying there, making those type of choices that I was making back then that really were not reading high end. So we all have to give ourselves the space and the room to grow, and we have to give our space the room and space to grow. And the way that we do that is by editing over time the installation of the things in our homes. So guys, I really hope you have enjoyed this video. I have thoroughly enjoyed sharing some of these things with you because I think some of them are typically life-changing, okay? Life-changing once you do them, you're like, oh, I see, she was right. This does elevate my home. Now, yes, now this is looking like a bit of me, okay? So I hope you enjoy it. Go ahead, upgrade those things so that you can upgrade your home, enjoy the home that you live in, because us homebodies, we love staying at home. We love enjoying our home. So it is something we invest in. Ladies and gents, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you share it with another woman, friend, anyone that enjoys interior decor. Let them come over here. Let them learn a thing or two so they too can have a beautiful home. Until then, I will see you next time. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as well. See you next time, ladies. Bye for now.